everybody, so today I'm going to be doing a tutorial on this look right over here. It's just a bronze look that I thought would be really nice for the end of summertime since we're basically in fall. I had a lot of fun filming this video. I hope you guys enjoy the video, and if you want to see how I got this look, then please keep watching. So the first thing we're going to do is use a shadow primer. This one is from Too Faced. It's one of my favorites. It gets really tacky, so I feel like it makes the shadows adhere much better. You can just take it on your ring finger. What we're gonna do is just pat it all over the lid like so, and that's probably actually just the right amount. I have super oily lids, so I try not to use my fingers because I don't want to transfer any oil. So I just use a flat brush. This is just a concealer brush. And I just basically blend that out all over the lid like so. Now that we've put down our eyeshadow primer, it's important to go over it with a cream shaded eyeshadow just to kind of set it all in place. I'm just going to be taking Charmer from the Tartelette and Bloom palette on a big fluffy brush. Just going to dip that color right into the palette and tap off the excess because we don't want too much shadow. We're just going to go ahead and apply that all over the lids. I'm just going to take a blending brush. This one is the E25 from Sigma. I like it because it really fits well into the crease of my eye since I do have smaller eyelids. And we're just going to go in with our first transition shade, which is going to be Smarty Pants, again from the Tartelette and Bloom palette. I'm just going to dip that right in there, tap off the excess again, and we're going to find Art Crease. So we're just going to place that color right here. We're just going to go ahead and blend that color all out. What you can do is a windshield wiper motion like so, just to kind of transfer the color all over that transition area. Don't worry too much about getting fallout on your lid because we will go over that area later. I like to kind of concentrate most of the color on the outside part of my crease, which is right over here because that's where I want the most definition and shadow to be.
To darken up that crease, we're just going to go in with Sweetheart from the Tartelette and Bloom palette.
Going where you originally put that first transition shade, that's where you want to place the brush again. So we're just going to follow that same thing we did earlier with the very first color. What this is going to do is it's going to add a nice gradient effect because we want to layer the shadows. That's what makes everything look super nice and diffused and blended.
So now I'm just going to take a windshield wiper motion and I'm just going to go ahead and sweep that back and forth until I get a nice and blended crease.
Now that we've placed the color on both lids, we're just going to go ahead and blend it all out so that it looks nice and seamless. So we're just going to go ahead and we're going to go a little bit higher than our original crease, and we're just going to kind of diffuse the shadow. I'm using the E57 from Sigma. It's the firm shader, and I do want a more intense color payoff, so I'm just gonna spray it with MAC Fix Plus. You don't have to use Fix Plus for this step. You can just use any setting spray that you have, or even water would do the job. So I'm just gonna go ahead and spritz a little bit of Fix Plus on there, and we're gonna go back into Firecracker. And we're just going to pack this color all over the lid, and look at that. Do you see how it just looks a lot more intense and almost like a foiled shadow? I'm just using a patting motion all over the lid. We don't want to drag because that's just not going to have a good color payoff. So make sure you pat this color in all over. So I'm going to be picking up a different blending brush. This one is the E35 from Sigma, and it's just a tapered blending brush, and we're just going to dip it into Rebel. And we're going to go ahead and intensify this crease area to give it more definition. So go ahead and place it right here like so, and you're going to want to work in this area. You don't want to drag this color all the way out. Focus it on your outer crease area, and I like to use small circular motions when I do this. So just make sure you dip it in just very lightly, and always build up the color because you can always add color, but you can't exactly take it away once it's on your brush. So keep blending and blending and blending till it looks fierce. Taking a clean blending brush, we're gonna go in with the same one I used earlier. I just kind of wiped it off just to make sure there was no leftover pigment on there. We're just gonna go ahead and buff this color out like so. And again, I'm kind of working with a more precise area and not exactly bringing it all the way into my inner corner. Otherwise, it's gonna look like I got punched in the face. And that's definitely not the look we're going for. So just carefully and slowly blend out the color until you're happy with the result. To deepen it up just a little bit more, I'm gonna go in with the same blending brush I used earlier on the Sigma E35 brush, and we're just gonna go in with Leader, just a very, very small amount. We're just gonna kind of pat it in to the inner corner. The crease, the outer crease. Place it exactly where I want the most concentrated color payoff, which is right in that outer V. And then just wanna make sure you kind of take a step back and look in the mirror to see that the colors are evenly placed and that there's the same amount of color. I'm just gonna clean this brush off. I just kind of wipe it back and forth on my arm like this. Make sure there's nothing left over. And again, using small and circular motions, we're just gonna blend that up. And this is a nice tip that I learned, which makes your shadows just kind of look a lot more like a gradient effect. I go in with the very first transition shade that we used, which is Smarty Pants, using the same tapered blending brush from Sigma, the E35. And what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna kind of clean up the edges right over here. And I'm just gonna kind of blend everything together. And always make sure that your brushes are clean. Otherwise, it'll probably just look like a hot mess, to be honest. I used to do that and I would always wonder like, what the heck, why does my eyeshadow look so crappy? And that's because I was not cleaning my brush. So don't do that. We're gonna go in and intensify the original lid color. Just go back in with Firecracker. I'm just gonna go in, kind of bring it back to life because we did lose a little bit of that pigment or that eyeshadow when we were blending all the colors together. But we're just gonna go in with a clean Q-tip and we're just gonna kind of sharpen up those edges. So what I do is I just take the very edge of it and we're just gonna go in.
For liner, I'm going to go ahead and line my eyes with the Bobbi Brown eyeliner in the darkest shade that they have, using my Sigma E6 winged liner brush. It is my favorite. It makes wings such a breeze, and I highly recommend it. I'm just going to go ahead and line my eyes.
Now that my liner is done, I'm just going to go ahead and apply some falsies off camera. For lashes, I'm going to be using the Morphe E22, and I will be right back. For the face today, I'm just going to prime with the Marc Jacobs Coconut Primer. I already primed the rest of my face, like my problem area is the T-zone, where I have like the most uneven texture, I feel. And I'm just going to put this all over my face. It looks like I'm slapping myself. Just put it all over my face, and I'm just going to blend it all out. Now I'm just gonna mix a little bit of my NYX Born to Glow Liquid Illuminator right over here. I just take a little bit like that, and I'm just gonna go ahead with my favorite foundation right now, which is the Marc Jacobs foundation. And it is in the color number 44, Golden Medium. Kind of looks like this. And I just mix it in with my ring finger. And then I apply that all over my face. I start here just because that's where I want the most coverage. And then I'm going to take a Kabuki brush from Sigma as well. Basically, most of the brushes I use are Sigma, and it's the F80. My roommates actually got this for me as a present, and I love it, so thank you guys. I will be using this forever. We're just going to go ahead and buff this out all over the face like so. And for this part, just so that I can get into my forehead a little bit better and blend a little bit better, I'm just gonna take my Beauty Blender, dampen it up with some Fix Plus, squeeze it a little bit. I'm just gonna pounce. And don't forget to blend into your neck as well. Oftentimes people forget this step and it just makes it so that your face is a whole different color from your body. So this is really important. Don't forget to do this. Just blend whatever you have left. You don't need more product. Just whatever you have left down into your neck so that it matches. And the next thing we're gonna do is go in with concealer. I'm gonna take this one from Urban Decay, and it is the Naked Skin Weightless Concealer in the shade Medium. I really like this concealer. It's super creamy, so I definitely recommend it. And then I'm just gonna go in with another brush that my roommates got for me. It is the perfect size to get right underneath my socket, my eyes, and you'll see. So I'm just going to blend and pat all that concealer out, just like so. You want to make sure that you take your time going back and forth with the product, because you want to make sure that you are tapping in the excess into your skin to prevent creasing later on in the day, especially if you're going to be going out at night or whatever, you're just going to be out for a while. You really don't want to worry about your concealer creasing, and this is going to do the trick. And then I'm just going to go ahead and bake. So just taking my Kat Von D translucent powder, I picked this up from Sephora, I really like it. Just taking a damp beauty blender, and I'm just going to go ahead and bake underneath where I had put that concealer, because this is the area where I get most creasing. I hope the sun isn't like bothering you guys too much. I'm still trying to figure out the best angles and whatnot to use for that. I find that setting the face before you apply any more powders really helps everything blend more seamlessly, just because, kind of like the primer, you are adding a nice powder layer to make everything more blendable and easy, as opposed to going straight on top of foundation. Tends to be a little bit chalky. I'm just taking this big fluffy powder brush from Sigma, it's the F30, into my same translucent powder. I'm just gonna go ahead and, ooh, it's a lot of powder. I'm just gonna go ahead and tap that all over my face. We're gonna leave the bakage underneath because we want that to stay there a little bit longer. Wherever it is you tend to get the oiliest would be where you want to place most product. That's pretty much it. Now that we have set the rest of the face, we can move on to bronzer. For bronzer, I'm gonna use this brush right here. It is the large powder, the F20 from Sigma. I'm just gonna take this shade right here. It's Laguna. It is one of my favorite bronzers. I started using this bronzer when I was in high school, and it has become one of my favorites. I'm just gonna tap in that brush and bronze up my face, just like so. I personally really like a bronzed up look, so I'm just gonna go ahead and be really generous here. If you prefer a more subtle look, then definitely don't add this much bronzer, but you know, I like to go all out, so we're just gonna do that. Here I'm just gonna bronze up the rest of my face, because we don't want just the shadows to fall here. We want to make sure everything else looks natural, because after you put that layer of foundation, you kind of wash yourself out, and then by adding bronzer and blush and whatnot, you bring color and depth and shadow back to the face. I also like to bronze the bottom of my cheekbone area. This isn't the cheekbone, this is like the chin, jaw. This is the jaw. And this just kind of makes my face look a little bit slimmer. Now that we have that, we're just gonna go in with a blush using the Sigma F10 brush. I'm gonna take this color right here. It's a really nice peach color. It's called, I believe it's Luster. It's a nice peach shade, which I think would really complement this bronze eye we have. We're just gonna go ahead and take a little bit, and we're just gonna find the apples of our cheeks. I like to smile because I have a really round face and I never know where it is. I'm just gonna go ahead and blend that up towards my temple. The next thing we're gonna do is brush off the excess powder that's on our face. Whoa. I just tried to clean my brush right now and there's like so much powder on there. So that was that. I'm just gonna take a small brush and I'm just gonna go ahead and wipe away all that baking that we did. Okay, now that we have this going on, I just kind of want to blend it out a little bit more to make the colors more gradient and not just like, you know, bronzer, blush, highlight. So I'm just gonna take that same face powder that I used for setting my face. I'm just gonna kind of slowly, in circular motions, blend the two together very lightly. You wanna use a really light hand for this. You don't wanna be too rough.
Then we're gonna go in with a highlighter. I really like, I just talked about this, but I really like this one from Morphe. It is again versus the M310. Whoops.
Okay, so as I was saying before, I just was a huge mess and dropping everything. I'm gonna go in with this beautiful highlighting palette from Tarte, and it looks like this. I really like it. And I'm just gonna take this, I hope I'm not blinding you with it. I'm gonna take this shade right here, which is the color Moonlight, and it is described as a rosy pearl. I'm gonna dip my fan brush in there, and I'm just gonna highlight the tops of my cheeks. So just right there. And you can see that glow. It is absolutely gorgeous. I love highlight, so I go a little overboard sometimes. If you want just like a nice flush, make sure you use a really light hand. If you're like me and you like to glow, then a bit more, but let's just keep doing it. I'm gonna move back into the eyes, going back with the Tartelette palette. Using a small pencil brush like this one from Sigma, it's the E30. I'm gonna go in with a Rebel, and I'm just gonna go ahead and smoke out the bottom lash line. What this does is it's just a nice way to kind of bring more dimension to the eye, because it looked a little bit flat, you know, because we just had shadow on the top lid, but you know, naturally you would have shadows also on the bottom. You can bring this color all the way in to the inner corner. Okay, I do want it a little bit darker, so I'm gonna go in with Leader, just a little bit, which is the darker shade in the palette. We're just gonna bring that color to the very outer corner.
So here I am, and I'm just curling my bottom lashes with mascara. This is the Full and Soft from Maybelline in the shade Black, and it is also waterproof. To highlight my inner corner, I'm just gonna go back into that same Tartelette palette.
Now we just have to highlight the brow. I like using a matte color for this just because we already have shimmer all over the lid. I'm gonna take a matte shade from the Tartelette and Bloom palette, which was the first shade I initially put down, which is Charmer. And I'm just gonna apply this under my brow bone to act as a highlight. And that's pretty much it for the eyes. I'm just gonna go ahead and do my lipstick. I'm just gonna line my lips using the Sephora lip liner in the shade Pale Beige, number 14. And I'm just gonna go ahead and line my lips. And then I'm gonna go ahead and go over that lip liner with a liquid lipstick. This one is from Kat Von D. It is in the shade Lolita 2. It is a beautiful warm terracotta color.
To highlight my Cupid's bow, I'm going back to the same Tartelette palette, and I'm highlighting with my finger.
And then all I'm gonna do next is spray my face with some Fix Plus. What this does, especially for my dry skin, is it kind of helps all the powder blend together and the liquid, so it looks a little bit more natural on your face, not as powdery. So I'm just gonna take a little bit and spray it all over my face. Then I'm gonna set it with my Urban Decay All Nighter Makeup Setting Spray. This is really crucial if you wanna make your makeup last all night long. So this is the final look. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys liked my video, go ahead and hit the subscribe button down below if you haven't already, and leave me a comment down below if you guys have any requests for videos in the future. Again, thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope to see you guys soon. Bye!